A young man by the name of Abram Fell stood to inherit lush and fertile lands on the banks of the River Tweed, but was missing just one vital document to prove that he was the rightful heir. Distraught and penniless, Abram took to wandering in the Pentland Hills. Exhausted, Abram fell asleep, and he dreamed of a voice calling him to bonny Galloway to find his heart's desire. So he lifted himself up and walked. Through the Dalveen Past he walked, then by Thornhill, then through Moniai, then cross Michael, until at last he reached Kirkcudbright. And in Kirkcudbright he met a lass by the name of Katie Bell, whose laugh made his heart want to dance. Quickly he fell in love with her, and she with him, but Katie's father would not allow the young couple to be together. Then, one day, Katie vanished. Abram was inconsolable. "I came to Galloway to find my heart's desire, and all I find is heartache," Abram said, and he took once again to wandering, this time with no care for his health or safety. At last he took refuge in a mountain bothy, lonely and sad. Unknown to her beloved, Katie had been spirited away by the fairy folk to their underground realm. They only wanted to comfort her in her torment over her forbidden love. They dressed her in the finest silks, put precious jewellery on her, fed her the sweetest sweetmeats and danced to her, but her grief would not lift. Most of the fair folk did not understand how her sadness could make her so ill, bar one old brownie who understood humans well. He told them, "Up the slopes of Curly Wee, in a bothy, you will find the cause of her grief. Abram Fell. They love each other, but are forbidden to be together." Now, the fairy realm was deep inside the granite of Cairnsmore of Fleet, and it was from here that the fair folk set out to bring Abram Fell to Katie. Abram was afraid at first he was to become a bogle's supper, but instead the fair folk fed him and dressed him. Now the fair folk led Abram through the many beautiful grottos and caves of the fairy realm to a great hall lit by 1,000 floating candles and sparkling with gem-encrusted walls. At the head of the hall was a gilded throne on which sat the Banree, the fairy queen. The Banree asked Abram if he knew who she was, to which he replied that he did, most courteously. She asked him what he thought of her realm, to which he replied, "It is a wondrous place, your majesty. I am humbled to have been brought here." The Banree was charmed. She declared that he could stay as long as he liked, to which Abram replied, "Your majesty is most gracious, but..." The Banree held up a finger to her mouth. "Before you say more, come with me," she told him. Explaining that she was going to show him something he would find even more wondrous than her realm, the Banree led Abram along a passage to a sturdy wooden door. She pointed at it and declared, "Your heart's desire is here." Abram entered the room alone. Inside was an ornately carved and curtained four-poster bed where a young woman lay fast asleep. Intrigued, Abram came closer and realised it was his Katie. Amazed, he woke her gently and hugged her. "You came for me," Katie said, overjoyed to see him. "The fair folk brought me to you," Abram told her. They lay a while in each other's arms until the Banree called them to her great hall, and there, before a crowd of fair folk, the Banree married them and gave them many beautiful gifts. Katie and Abram stayed a while in the fairy realm of Cairnsmore, exploring its many caves and grottos until they found their way to a grand library at the very heart of the hill. They read many beautiful books of stories, spells and histories together there. Then, one day, Abram spied among the illuminated manuscripts and vellum-bound books a simple scroll bound with a silk ribbon. Untying the ribbon, he began to read the scroll, and he saw his own name written on it. A moment later, he realised what the document was. It was indeed the lost document of his inheritance. Surprised, they went straight to the Banree and begged her for an audience. She said that it had been found by a brownie who had brought it to her for safekeeping. She had called Abram in his dream. When Abram asked why she had not told him before, she said, "Something earned under hardship is that much more precious than that which comes easily." Katie and Abram then left the fairy realm together to live in Abram's land on the River Tweed.